Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text number 30. Paribhuyamanaha Makshikabhihi Iva Vanagajaha Tarjana Tadana Avamehana Shtivana Grava Shakrit Rajaha Prakshepa Putivata Duruktaihi Tad Aviganayan Eva Asat Samsthana Etasmin Deha Upalakshane Dehopalakshane Sad Apadesha Ubhaya Anubhava Swarupena Swamahima Avasthanena Swamahimavasthanena Asamaropita Aham Mama Abhimanatvad Avikhandhitamanaha Prithvim Ekacharaha Paribhabrama. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Rishaba Deva began to tour through cities, villages, mines, countrysides, valleys, gardens, military camps, cow pens, the homes of cowherdmen, transient hotels, hills, forests, and hermitages. Wherever he traveled, all bad elements surrounded him, just as flies surround the body of an elephant coming from a forest. He was always being threatened, beaten, urinated upon, and spat upon. Sometimes people threw stones, stool, and dust at him, and sometimes people passed foul air before him. Thus people called him many bad names and gave him a great deal of trouble. But he did not care about this, for he understood that the body is simply meant for such an end. He was situated on the spiritual platform, and being in his spiritual glory, he did not care for all these material insults. In other words, he completely understood that matter and spirit are separate, and he had no bodily conception. Thus, without being angry at anyone, he walked through the whole world alone. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Narottam Das Thakur says, Deha smriti nahi yaar, samsar bandhana kahan dhar. When a person fully realizes that the material body and world are temporary, he is not concerned with pain and pleasures of the body. As Sri Krishna advises in the Bhagavad Gita, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukadukkadaha agama paino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. As far as Rishabhadeva is concerned, it has already been explained. Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam. He did not at all possess a material body, and therefore he was tolerant of all the trouble offered to him by the bad elements in society. Consequently, he could tolerate people's throwing stool and dust upon him and beating him. His body was transcendental and consequently did not at all suffer pain. He was always situated in his spiritual bliss. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Since the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, He is in the heart of hogs and dogs also. If hogs and dogs in their material bodies live in filthy places, one should not think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His Paramatma feature also lives in a filthy place. Although Lord Rishabhadeva was maltreated by the bad elements of the world, he was not at all affected. Therefore, it is stated here, Swamahima avasthanena. He was situated in his own glory. He was never saddened due to being insulted in many ways described above. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So we are reading in this chapter Rishabhadeva's teachings and his activities after he taught his sons. And in this verse, we are continuing to read about Rishabhadeva after he left his home, what he did. Rishabhadeva, what he did is something very extraordinary. It is not to be imitated. The level of renunciation. Of course, Rishabhadeva is Lord himself. The Lord has unlimited opulences, and one of the opulences is detachment. And Rishabhadeva is displaying such detachment from the material world, just to instruct human society. Rishabhadeva began to tour through cities, villages, mines, tatra tatra pura grama akara, keta, vata, karvata, shibhira, vraja, ghosha, sartha, giri, vana, ashramadishu, anupatham. He traveled through all these kind of places. And when he went around, avanichara apasadhaihi, bad elements, undesirable elements, wicked persons in the society, they saw him to be a madman. Avanichara apasadhaihi paribhuyamano makshikabhir iva vanagajaha. Just like a vanagaja, an elephant in the forest, coming from a forest, is surrounded by makshikabhir paribhuyamanaha, by flies going around a forest, an elephant coming from a forest. In the same way, Rishabhadeva was surrounded by these bad elements who were giving different kinds of trouble to him. Just like the flies going around the elephant, they're trying to get the blood, they're going to get something from the animal. And here what did they do? Tarjana. Tarjana. They gave threats to him. Tadana. They gave beatings to him. Avamehana. Passed urine on his body. Shtivana. Spitting on his body. Remember that Sushtivana verse. Shtivana. Grava Shakrit. Stone. Grava. Shakrit is stool. Rajaha. Dust. Prakshepa. To throw. Putivata. Puti means stench. Stinking. Vata. Air. Duruktaihi. Duruktaihi. Uktaihi. Words. Duruktaihi. Bad words. Opposite of Duruktaihi is Suktaihi. That's why it's called Purusha Sukta. Very beautiful prayers to the Lord. Prayers, words of praise is called Sukta. Durukta is words of not praise, harming, and by bad words. While he was going through all these being thrown at him, Aviganayan, Aviganayan, he did not bother about it. He was not disturbed at all. Aviganayan eva asat samsthana. Asat samsthana. Very nicely Prabhupada translates. Asat samsthane. Habitat not fit for a gentleman. He regarded. These are all asat samsthana. Etasmin dehopalakshane sadapadesha. Sadapadesha. Dehopalakshane sadapadesha. This deha and upalakshana, deha upalakshana in the form of the material body, sadapadeshe, it appears real. See, this body and our situation looks real. Sadapadeshe ubhaya anubhava swarupena. By understanding the proper situation of the body and the soul, ubhaya swarupena, ubhaya swarupena anubhava, ubhaya anubhava swarupena, he understood the properly of the two, ubhaya, of what are the two? The body and the soul and their nature. Swamahima, he was situated in his own glory. Swamahima avasthanena, and asamaropita aham mama abhimanatvat, from not accepting the misconception aham mama abhimanatvat, na asamaropita, aropita, asama aropita, not affected by, not accepting. Avikandhita manaha, undisturbed in the mind. Prithivim ekacharaha paribhabrama, he wandered all over the world alone. So, we find some very interesting directions for our spiritual life in these verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let us take some of these words. Asat samsthane, habitat not fit for a gentleman. This is an expression that was spoken by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said that this material world is not fit for a gentleman. Because a gentleman, of course, in this material world, people dress up as gentlemen and gentlewomen, but not necessarily by their activities, by their character, by their thinking, they are gentlemen. They only dressed up as gentlemen. Slightly you scratch and you will see all exploding emotions coming out of their heart and their words and their actions. So, Rishaba Deva, when he was surrounded by all these wicked persons, they were threatening him, beating him, passing urine on him. Can you imagine? The kind of shtivana, spitting on him, stones and stool, rajaha, prakshepa, putivata, duruktaihi, all that was being hurled on him, aviganayan, tat aviganayan, he simply did not bother. Thinking asat samsthane, yes, that's how this material world is. A gentleman is somebody, like you see when children, when they go to good school, you can see, you give them something, immediately they'll say, thank you. Right? Then you say, oh, nice manners they have taught you in the school. Sometimes you give and then they don't say thank you. They snatch it from your hand and run away. There are some children also like that. You see, then you feel, what kind of a child? So here, you are supposed to acknowledge the giver. That's the idea. Somebody is giving you something, you should be thankful to him. So, in the material world, we take so many things from Krishna, we do not bother to acknowledge him. In the material world, that's how it is. You see? They rarely acknowledge. And of course, karmis acknowledge. That way they are better than those who don't acknowledge. Karmis acknowledge, but they acknowledge and they use it for their own purpose. That's the nature of a karmi. Better than karmi is a surrendered person who acknowledges and tries to understand what is the intent of the supplier and use it in according to that. Sensitive. It is not mine, it is his. He has given me, I must use it for his purpose. You see? So, but the karmis, they acknowledge in the sense, just like suppose a karmi makes 100 rupees profit. He says, no, 30 rupees I should give tax. 70 rupees, don't ask me what I do. I'll do whatever I want. See? Whereas a surrendered soul, he understands, okay, 30 I have to give to the government. The 70 is also not mine. It's also given by the Lord only. I must use it for Lord's purpose. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasiyat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, yat karoshi madarpanam. Mat karma krin mat paramo bhakta mat bhakta sangavarjitaha. Mat bhaktaha sangavarjitaha. Do my work. This is what Krishna is saying. We should do Krishna's work, not our own work. Because who are we? We are Krishna's. Where are we? This material world is Krishna's. Everything that I have is Krishna's. This understanding, very rare. This is called Sharanagati. In Sharanagati stage, you are aligning with God. Still, love for God has not yet come. Of course, there is you can say, preliminary stage of love of God. Prabhupada says that. Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna concludes by Sharanagati, which is the beginning stage of, preliminary stage of prema. And then prema is, now I align with the Lord, and then I want to understand who is the Lord, who am I? And then a relationship between me and the Lord is awakened, and that relationship is awakened, and then it is fully blossoms, then it is called bhava and prema. So, in this material world, we customarily acknowledge the provider. Even a karmi, in that sense, customarily he acknowledges, yes, God is the provider. But I have my desires, I have my plans, I have my own ambitions and aspirations. I need God's blessing so that I can fulfill all my desires. This is a karmi. A devotee who is surrendered, he thinks, what is Lord's desire? Because everything is Lord's. Let me be sensitive to Lord's desire and act according to that. That is why in this material world, everyone thinking, it's my own world, my own things. I did it, my hard work. It is my hard work and my ability. I got all this, and I should rightly enjoy it. Where did the ability come from? Where did this intelligence come from? It's not thinking about that. Sensitivity is not there in the consciousness of a person. It's mine. I am manifesting these abilities. So it's mine. That sensitivity, where did this ability come from? Whose is it? How is it happening? That much careful, sensitive thinking does not exist. It's mine. I will use it for my purpose. You see? So actually it all belongs to Krishna. Buddhir buddhi yatham asmi tejas tejasvi namaham. Whatever tejas exists in somebody, in a tejasvi, that tejas is mine, Krishna is saying. Whatever buddhi is there, it is mine. So, this world is full of thieves. Everybody is stealing from Krishna. They are dressed up nicely. In suit and boot and all that. So you can't make out. But they're actually thieves, stealing things from Krishna and using it for their purpose. And hence, it is actually asat samsthane. This is asat samsthana. And so, Rishabhadeva, who understood, saw it that way, he said, oh, whatever they want, let them do. I am not disturbed. You see? Aviganayan. Ganayan means to take, to recognize that. Viganayan means to be very Carefully recognize it. Aviganayan means don't care at all. Like sometimes in our life also, we come across somebody speaks harshly to us and become very disturbed. See, he could have told me nicely, no? In front of so many people he told. What all those people will think about me. You see? How much we are concerned about honor. So, Rishabhadeva is Aviganayan. And this material world is made in such a way, Sadapadeshe, it is appearing Sat, it is appearing real. Tejo vari mridham yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo amrisha. It is actually made of a transformation of Teja vari mrudam. This material world is Teja, fire, vari, water, and mrudam, earth, mrit. It's a combination. But Tejo vari mritam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha. But this trisarga, the creation made of these three elements, it appears to be factual. This world looks like it is a factual world. Factual forms, factual, look at our body. It's me. It gives that feeling, right? It's me. My pleasure, my pains, my feelings, my emotions. See? Recently there was one wedding of a very celebrity family in our country. And then his elder brother was married few years back. And so now this younger brother was getting married. And so he was with his family members talking and his fiancée next to him. And then he said, I asked my brother, how was it, my dear brother, first time when you met your fiancée a few years back? And my brother said, oh, fountains and volcanoes were going on in my heart. My brother said, and now I am with my fiancée, I'll tell you the truth. No volcano, no fountains. Earthquakes and tsunamis are going on in my heart. And all family members are clapping. You see? It's a fact. This emotions and feelings, all these things, it comes like a tsunami in a young man, young girl, young woman. And it looks real. Ah, what a feeling it is. You see? That's why it is called real. It's not real. With just time, it will be gone. It's temporary manifestation. But at that temporary moment, it looks like it is all real. And we get cheated. The conditioned soul who wants to enjoy in the material world, this whole thing, this is like a whole game that is going on, orchestrated by Maya. Male forms, female forms, emotions for male forms, emotions for female forms. All these kind of things that happen. So, etasmin deha upalakshane sadapadeshe. This deha upalakshana, the body and its characteristics are all made in such a way. It shows that I am a personality. And that feelings, I'm a male personality, that is a female personality, and all these, it looks real. But with time, one day this soul will go and that male personality will be lying there. Where is the personality there? It is just Panchabhutas, has to be set on fire, that's all. That male person, that body which was creating tsunamis and earthquakes and volcanoes and all that, where is all that? Now you wake up. The same beautiful girl is in front of you. Now any volcano? Nothing. Soul has gone. You see how soul is the one which makes all the difference. And we are neglecting that soul. That's the nature of this material world. And ubhaya anubhava swarupena, by understanding the proper situation of the body and the soul. See, Rishabhadeva's vision was so perfect. He clearly understood what is the position of the body, what is the position of the soul. And swamahima avasthanena, he was always situated. Of course, he is the Supreme Lord. He is Krishna, Vishnu himself. He is an incarnation. So swamahima avasthanena, he was situated in his true glorious position as a spiritual personality. In one sense, that swamahima avasthanena also applies to us, because we are also a spiritual being, uncontaminated. The soul is always pure. Every contamination is external to the soul and it can be washed off. The impurity don't go and mix with the soul. It will always remain external to the soul. Soul is always pure. That's the statement of the Shastras. And hence, a spiritual process can remove all the dirt and the soul can remain pure. And we can remain in that pure state. That's the assurance and the promise given by the Bhagavatam. And we can also be situated swamahima, in our true glorious situation. Our glory is not in terms of the body and mind. The body which, produces perspiration, urine, stool, blood and all these things. This is not our persona. Our persona is coming from the spirit soul, not from this material body. So this ubhaya swarupena anubhavaha. Anubhava means who has experienced it, realized it. Asamaropita aham mama abhimanatvat. And in this material world, aham and mama abhimanatvat. That kind of a conception. It's not a conception, it's a misconception of aham and mama connected with this material world. And he was undisturbed in his mind from all these things. And so he walked around, wandered around, unaffected by all the things that were happening to him. And Rishabhadeva's intent was to teach humanity how we should be unaffected by different things that happen in this world and should be focused on understanding our spirituality, our true spiritual nature. And what is it in our true spiritual nature, what is our real activity? Devotional service. So these are very, very striking examples. Rishabhadeva wanting to prepare human society so that we come to this kind of a spiritual understanding. Because if we come to such spiritual understanding about ourselves, then we become qualified to associate with the Lord. See? We use the word Srila for Prabhupada. Right? For all our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What does this word Srila mean? Normally in Indian languages, in Hinduism, we would say Shri or Shrimat, but we say Srila. Shri means, Shrimat means full of spiritual potency. The word Shri means spiritual potency. Somebody who has got spiritual potency, he is addressed as Shrimat. Srila, the word La means not only possesses spiritual potency, but has the necessary qualification to participate in the Leela of the Lord. That's the meaning of the additional word La. It refers to Leela Pravishtaha, Nitya Leela Pravishtaha, one who lives and participates in the Nitya Leela of the Lord. So, it is there in the Vedic literatures, but in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, this is highlighted that we must aspire to be with Krishna, to associate with Krishna, and participate in his pastimes and serve him. This is a very extraordinary offer that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his parampara is making. It enables one to enter the Leela of the Lord, associate with the Lord. You see? So these are some. That is why for the perfected acharyas, we use the word Srila. They are full of spiritual potency and qualifications to enter into the Leela of the Lord. So, the whole idea of the Srimad Bhagavatam is preparing us to understand and appreciate Krishna Leela. Who is this Krishna? What is he doing? What is his intention? What does he want us to do? So, in the natural state of the living entity, actually our heart is supposed to be filled with such ecstasies of Krishna Prema. That is the natural position of the living entity. Krishna Prema Nitya Siddha Sadhya Kabunai. It is the eternal perfection of every living entity. That perfection, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Sampradaya is trying to present to us. So, it is beyond the stage of Sharanagati, beyond the stage of the elevated stages of Bhakti, Bhava and Prema. So, for that, Prabhupada has quoted this verse in the purport, Deha Smriti nahi yaar, samsar bandhana kahan thar. Deha Smriti means bodily conception of life. So, for a person who has no bodily conception of life, Deha Smriti nahi yaar, samsar bandhana kahar than. For him, where is the samsara bandhana? Somebody who is free from bodily conception of life. Rishaba Deva is exhibiting the standard of freedom from bodily conception of life. See, such a stunning example Rishaba Deva is setting so that we understand we should not be disturbed by the things that happen in the material world and be focused on developing our devotion for Krishna. Like this. We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.